The Daily Wire produces a show that's recorded in front of a live audience in a bar in Nashville, Tennessee, where their headquarters is, hosted by Michael Knowles, where he brings two different guests on, each of a different political view, to discuss and debate various topics, and have guests, who are the people in the bar, ask questions of them and participate in the show. And this week they invited Alex Stein, a comedian best known for crashing city council meetings and just trolling them into oblivion, as one of the guests to debate against Dan Crenshaw, Congressman Dan Crenshaw, about America's foreign policy in the Middle East, particularly the war in Iran. Or should I say, former Congressman Dan Crenshaw, who just lost his primary race in his re-election bid for his House seat. Which he's blaming on fake news. Dan Crenshaw says that the culture of misinformation online fueled his primary loss. So Alex flew to Nashville, very excited to be able to do an in-person debate against one of the Republican Party's biggest rhinos, reincarnation of John McCain, Eye Patch McCain, only to learn shortly after landing that the producer sent him a message saying that Dan Crenshaw wasn't going to do the debate with him. He was afraid. And instead of doing the right thing and just telling Dan Crenshaw that he's a coward, and if he backed out and didn't show up, then tell the audience what a pathetic coward he was, instead they canceled on Alex Stein. They told him, sorry, but Dan Crenshaw just is afraid to debate you. And then they got a replacement. They got somebody else to fill in. Alex Stein posted all of the receipts, including the initial invitation email and then the DM explaining that Dan Crenshaw was afraid to debate him, but they tried to appease Alex by saying that he could come on another show. Apparently there's another live show that Michael Knowles is doing, which looks an awful lot like a game show. That's what the Daily Wire is trying to do in order to just get people's attention now in this very competitive business. He said, well, but you could do the other show tomorrow morning.
Welcome to Yes or No, the bibulous battle to discover who knows whom better. My guest today is Reed Choi. How do we play? I will ask Reed a yes or no question. He will select his answer away from my prying eyes. Then I will guess how he answered. If I guess correctly, I get a point. If I guess incorrectly, I lose a point. No matter what, I will drink. Then it's Reed's turn. Neither of us has seen the questions beforehand. Whoever has the most points at the end wins.
So the event that the Daily Wire flew me out there for, they banned me from it because of Eye Patch McCain, the Cyclops from Texas, because he's such a baby back bitch that he can't even face me in person. So it's absolutely ridiculous. The Daily Wire should be ashamed of themselves. And then, I'm not even going to play it on the show, you guys made a trailer for the event with me in it, and we co-posted on Instagram. So I had multiple fans there that were there to see me, and you banned me from the event and tried to give me $150 so I wouldn't get pissed and still go on the show the next day. And I told the Daily Wire they can stick it where the sun doesn't shine, because I'm not that big of a baby back bitch that I'm going to let you fly me there at the crack of dawn to go to an event and then ban me before the event starts.
But as luck would have it, despite being banned from the show and from the venue itself at the behest of Dan Crenshaw, Alex Stein was hanging outside of the venue and just so happened to catch a glimpse of Crenshaw.
Dan, I bet you didn't see that loss coming. Dan, did you see that loss coming? Crenshaw, you took the L. Hey, Crenshaw, you took the L. Did you see that coming? I know you only got one eye, Cyclops. You lost. Did you do a good job? Hey, Dan, great job on your election, brother. You're a loser. We got your ass, Dan. You're a loser. Great job, dude. Are you scared? Is that why you're walking away?
The same Dan Crenshaw who likes to assault citizen journalists for asking him questions outside the Capitol when he's, well, in the capacity of a congressman.
Dude, we don't want it anymore.
Tried to just trip that guy right as he was going up the stairs. That certainly was no accident. He's a former Navy SEAL, trained in self-defense and fighting. He thought he was going to be real slick about it, but just watch his left leg.
You don't want it anymore.
Right there.
Oh, assault! I just witnessed it. You got
Try to trip him going up the stairs. The same clown who said on a hot mic after an interview wrapped up, but the camera was still rolling when he thought it wasn't, that he wanted to murder May, Tucker Carlson.
Have you ever met Tucker?
We've talked a lot. If I ever meet him, I'll probably kill him. He's the worst person.
And when word got out about this, before this clip was even posted, then Dan Crenshaw denied that he said such thing on Twitter, and then the outlet then posted the clip because he still thought that it was just the reporter's word against his, didn't realize it was actually on video. The same clown who posted, "Rest in peace, George Floyd." He's not being ironic here. He's actually being serious. "You should be with us today." So the show went on without Alex Stein because the Daily Wire are cowards. And like I said, should have let Crenshaw not show up because he's a coward and then told the audience what really happened. But instead, the now former congressman, or the outgoing congressman, he's still going to be there until, the end of the year. But the outgoing congressman drowning his sorrows in alcohol on the show, sounding like he was slurring his words in this clip when he was making the case for attacking Iran.
They're rebuilding the nuclear program. They're very overt about this. We can tell, we can see it. It's all happening. And then some people say, well, we let the Israelis drag us into war. No one drags us into war. We're the United States. Like, we don't get dragged in, but we do.
Well, that's not what Secretary of State Marco Rubio said, but then once he let the cat out of the bag that Israel was going to attack them, and then our intelligence knew that once that happened, then Iran would blame us because, well, we've been funding Israel's military for generations and just giving them weapons. Then they would have attacked our military bases there. So then President Trump felt, all right, well, he better just join them and try to obliterate them as soon as possible. And also, Speaker of the House Mike Johnson confirmed that, well, Israel got us into this mess again.
I took some notes, and this is not classified, so I'll tell you what I think is important.
This is right after he got out of a classified briefing about it.
Israel was determined to act in their own defense here, with or without American support. Why? Because Israel faced what they deemed to be an existential threat. Because Israel was determined to act, with or without the U.S., our Commander-in-Chief and the administration and the officials I just named had a very difficult decision to make. They had to evaluate the threats to the U.S., to our troops, to our installations, to our assets in the region and beyond. And they determined, because of the exquisite intelligence that we had, that if Israel fired upon Iran and took action against Iran to take out the missiles, then they would have immediately retaliated against U.S. personnel and assets.
But now the memo went out that, well, that's not really what happened. Like, we were just going to go and do it anyway. And it's just, this is all something you're just supposed to forget. They all admitted in public. And to be clear, there is a huge difference between doing some flyby bombings and sending troops on the ground like George W. Bush did into Iraq. It's like over 100,000 American soldiers were sent there, again, to take out Saddam Hussein in order to protect Israel. And you know what? Hopefully this thing goes smooth. Hopefully it blows over another few days, but they seem to just keep extending the estimated conclusion by a few weeks, now maybe even a few months. I was going to say that I am hopeful, that I hope that this thing goes off without a hitch, but we've already lost several American servicemen, and now it looks like the U.S. accidentally bombed a school in Iran and killed a bunch of kids. And so I'm not one of these people cheerleading this, thinking this is amazing. Yeah, let's exercise America's might to just destroy those Arabs over there. Because we've seen instances like this spiral out of control in the past. Here is Secretary of Defense Donald Rumsfeld making the case for a quick and easy invasion of Iraq.
It is not knowable if force will be used, but if it is to be used, it is not knowable how long that conflict would last. It could last, 6 days, 6 weeks. I doubt 6 months.
Whoopsie! It turned out, as many people probably forgot by now, that it took almost 20 years. And if you missed my previous videos on the whole situation, be sure to go and watch them. It upset a lot of people, but go and check the top thumbed up comments. The overwhelming majority of the viewers fully agree with my analysis. Like when I called out Benjamin Netanyahu, the HJIC, the head Jew in charge over there in Israel, the prime minister, for appearing on Fox News on Sean Hannity's show, Lindsey Graham's boyfriend, and making the case of why they did this. And he said it was to protect America, that Iran was about to set nuclear ICBMs into American cities. He made it sound like the only reason that they did this was because they were protecting us. When, it is understandable why they actually did it, because Iran and Israel are basically sworn mortal enemies. But again, I'm not interested in an ongoing ethnic land dispute halfway around the world that's been going on for, 75 years now? Actually, a lot longer than that if you really want to get down to it, but I was just referring to the creation of the modern state of Israel in 1948. But the Bible makes it very clear in the Old Testament that before the Jews arrived at that land, there already were people living there. There's already civilizations in that very land, the Canaanites and others, and then the Israelites killed them all and then took the land as their own. But you're not supposed to talk about that. You're only supposed to say that it's always been the Jews' land. Here's actor Seth Rogen, who is ethnically Jewish himself, revealing how surprised he was to actually learn the truth about his ancestors' supposed claimed homeland.
I also think that as a Jewish person, I was fed a huge amount of lies about Israel my entire life. Yeah. They never tell you that. Oh, by the way, there were people there. They make it seem like it was just they're sitting there. The doors open.
Hours for the taking.
It literally, they forget to include the fact to every young Jewish person, basically, oh, by the way, there were people there.
And of course, there were still a bunch of non-Jews living there in 1948 when a certain group of people, with the help of the United States, decided to declare that that land now belonged to the Jews. Instead, here is President Harry Truman explaining the difficult situation.
I don't think that decision to recognize Israel is an easy one. I had to make a compromise with the Arabs and divide Palestine. The Jews wanted to chase all the Arabs into the Tigris and Euphrates River, and the Arabs wanted to chase all the Jews into the Red Sea. And what I was trying to do was to find a homeland for the Jews and still be just with the Arabs. We had several other people in the country, even among the Jews, the Zionists particularly, who were against anything that was to be done if they couldn't have the whole of Palestine and everything handed to them on a silver plate so they wouldn't have to do anything. It couldn't be done. We had to take it in small doses. You can't move 5 or 6 million people out of a country and fill it up with 5 or 6 million more and expect both sets of them to be pleased. We had all sorts of objections to everything that was done. Something had to be done. We went ahead and done it and had it done, and now it's working out. Eventually, I think we'll have them all satisfied.
Well, it's 2026, and obviously they're not all satisfied. The ongoing ethnic land dispute over that little region continues to cause strife and wars and military action and countless debates and arguments and censorship and cancellation of people who point out certain facts and have certain opinions that undermine a certain agenda. It'll save the discussion about the Third Temple for another video on another day. A lot of Zionist Christians believe that the Jews need to be in that area and they can't wait to have the Muslim mosque, the Dome in the Rock, blown up. And then they want Israel to build Solomon's temple in its place, the Third Temple, thinking that that's going to usher in the return of Jesus. When actually in the Bible, it makes it clear that that's where the Antichrist is going to rule from. Okay. And then after that, Some people think that Jesus is going to return when actually Jesus said that he is the temple, okay? It's not a physical building over there in Israel where Jesus is going to then hang out and declare to be his new office. I'll get into it a little bit more, I guess, in this video. Just for those people who just aren't getting it, here is Pastor Greg Locke laying out the plan.
What they ought to do is evacuate up there on the hill and get a great big missile and blow that wicked dome of the rock plumb off of the spot where it's standing right now so we can get that third temple rebuilt and usher in the coming of Jesus.
Actually, Pastor, can't help but notice here, skipping over the part where the Antichrist will actually take over that temple first and then declare himself to be God during Armageddon. It is shocking how many Christians don't understand that their salvation, their relationship with Christ, has nothing to do whatsoever with what ethnic group happens to live in a certain region over there in the Middle East. I mean, most Christians actually think that Israel is a Jewish country, meaning a religious country, that the whole country is like a theocracy, that it's carrying on the ancient traditions of Judaism, when it is a secular state. It's an ethnic group that has a region of land over there. The first prime minister, David Ben-Gurion, of course, ethnically Jewish, a well-known atheist. So not even their first prime minister. Actually, I don't think any of their prime ministers have actually practiced Judaism. He was a atheist. Okay, culturally Jewish, but didn't even believe in God. But around here we say Christ is king and war is a racket. And we support alligator Alcatraz, deporting all the illegal aliens, conspiracy theorists are right, liberalism is a mental disorder we need to find a cure for, etc., etc. And if you agree and you want to spread the word or wear a great conversation starter and support the channel, then order your t-shirts over at markdice.com or click the link in the description below. So head on over there and check them out.